What is happening at Gamer Dude here, and with the announcement of Star Wars Outlaws and the multiple controversies that have happened regarding the way the character looks, or the fact that the game is really expensive and definitely not worth the money that is being asked for, or the fact that Ubisoft is trying to get you onto their Ubisoft Plus, I think it was called, whatever their subscription service was called. And with all of that in between, I personally want Star Wars Outlaws and a lot of other Ubisoft games that they're going to be making to fail. Now, stick with me on this, because this kind of leads back to a previous era, let's say 10, 12 years ago, I want to say, where Ubisoft was actually under attack by Vivendi, and Vivendi were trying to do a hostile takeover of Ubisoft, and so Ubisoft had to defend itself somehow. So you know what Ubisoft did? They very much got very creative and created some really good games across multiple franchises, and created brand new franchises and made some really good games. Stuff like Assassin's Creed pretty much became a really well-known franchise. They made a Splinter Cell game. They made Splinter Cell, they made a couple of really good Rayman games. I mean, Splinter Cell Blacklist was actually really good. Assassin's Creed was also really good during that period of time. They changed up Far Cry, Far Cry's recipe from what Far Cry 1 did to what Far Cry 2 did, and Far Cry 3 was the best Far Cry game they had actually made, and still feels like it continues to be the best game in the franchise. They released an HD re-release of the original Beyond and Evil. They announced that they were working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. But obviously that still hasn't released yet, and in fact, stuff is still being done at the moment. But the reason why they did all of this was because they weren't failing, it's just that another company was trying to buy them out completely by doing a hostile takeover at the time. And now if Ubisoft had multiple more failures in a row, eventually they would have to get serious and actually bring the creative juices out and get that flowing. And then this kind of led me to a very strange announcement of Rayman getting a board game. Now, you might be thinking, okay, you're talking about the fact that Ubisoft was failing before and then almost being taken over by another company by the name of Vivendi, but then they managed to keep Vivendi away by increasing their stock prices even higher, by releasing a bunch of really good games, creating brand new franchises, and continuing the train, albeit that it's gotten so exacerbated to the point where now people are tired of Ubisoft games. And I thought it was really strange for there to be a Rayman board game when they really should just release a brand new Rayman game. Whether it be the 2D side-scrolling types like the last two that we got, and it's been well over 10 years since we have gotten a Rayman game. In fact, it's been 11 years, which is insane to think about. It's been 11 years since we've gotten another Rayman game. And I suppose looking back at it, and this is what shocks me the most, we got two Rayman games about 12 years ago. Or well, 11 and 13 years ago to be more precise. In 2011 we got Rayman Origins, and then in 2013 we got Rayman Legends. Rayman Origins sitting at an 87 on Metacritic and 92 for Rayman Legends. That being said, I think people like Rayman Origins more than Legends, but I digress. Origins was a far more difficult and far more punishing game. That being said, none of this Rabbids business, we need more Rayman. But in saying that, the reason why I'm bringing up the past about the hostile takeover with Vivendi and the fact that I want Ubisoft to fail now largely stems from the fact that if they were to fail, they would eventually need to get serious and actually make some new decisions, actually make a bunch of good games from the myriad of franchises that they own. In fact, that's how we even got a Splinter Cell game in the form of Splinter Cell Blacklist. We haven't seen Sam Fisher since Blacklist, and that was what, 2012 or 2013, I can't remember. But again, it's been a long ass time. People have been waiting. And hell, Ghost Recon has been completely dug into the ground as well. In fact, the only good Ghost Recon game that they have at the moment, or Tom Clancy game rather, is crap, I forgot what it's called. Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah, it's a Rainbow Six game, not a not a Splinter Cell game, not a Ghost Recon game, but a goddamn Rainbow Six game. And the game before that, the last Rainbow Six game that came out, was Rainbow Six Vegas 2. So there is a bit of distance in terms of time between the releases of these games, but I wonder if anyone else kind of agrees with me that if Ubisoft were to fail with multiple iterations of games in a row across a couple to a few years, that eventually they might have to release and make good games that are also fairly different from each other, that have their own unique identity, that play differently, that are of different genres, but they all find themselves in this sort of blob. And in fact, the whole, and I'm not even talking about like the Crew situation, but like the Crew was also like an interesting take on the Ubisoft formula that we had known. It was taking the Ubisoft formula, which was just created at the end of 2012 or midway through 2012. In 2014 we got the Crew, which was just the whatever Far Cry 3 was, or whatever Assassin's Creed kind of became a little bit with Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 4, but except in a racing or driving sense. And that's kind of what we got with the Crew. And so it seemed like an interesting twist because of the change in genre. So that's just kind of like me sort of spouting out what has kind of happened in the past and how that might benefit us now. But that's kind of asking for something bad to happen to Ubisoft. And that is kind of not really a thing that people are going to question all that much, to be completely honest. I feel like a lot of people are hoping for the worst, at least for now, until they can get their act together and start releasing new games that are actually really good, highly rated by critics and fans alike, and they're all unique enough. But with all of that being said, let me know what you guys think about what I've said in the comments below. I feel like I can't be the only one who kind of feels this way, that wants Ubisoft to do better. They are getting a ton of hate now because of Star Wars Outlaws, but at the same time, I also want them to do better and hopefully, get to a better place. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I may move for 200 subs by the end of the year, and with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.